And just like clockwork, as I finished uploading the video for Ken Wisenhunt stepping down as head coach or resigning as head coach of the Memphis Showboats, at the beginning and end of that video, I made a comment about we could see this happen again or something similar to it with one of the other head coaches in the league based on some reports we've been seeing the past 3 weeks. And that, of course, being Wade Phillips with his health issues that essentially have been happening that we heard in week one. He was up in the booth coaching, wouldn't be on sidelines. Week two, he was finally on the sidelines, but then week three, this past Sunday or past weekend, he essentially was in the locker room for the whole game because of an illness and would not be coaching. Well, unfortunately, Wade Phillips is taking a leave of absence from the UFL's San Antonio Brahmas. This comes to us from Pro Football Talk, NBC Sports' Mike Florio. And yeah, that's exactly what is happening here. So here's what is going on. So the statement states that Wade Phillips, a three-time former NFL head coach, has taken a leave of absence from his current position as head coach of the UFL's San Antonio Brahmas. The UFL announced on Wednesday that Phillips will step aside for personal reasons. Offensive coordinator Peyton Pardee will serve as the interim head coach for the balance of the 2025 season. Now, of course, with this being said, Peyton Pardee did an absolute amazing job this past weekend when he took over that role. Essentially, while Wade Phillips was back in the locker room during the game, I think he did very well. I think compared to potentially the situation that Memphis is in with Jim Turner, I think this could be a perfect fit for the time being, but I am curious. So anyways, it goes on. The UFL is extremely grateful for the leadership that Wade has delivered to the UFL as head coach of the San Antonio Brahmas. UFL President and CEO Russ Brandon and UFL Executive VP of Football Operations Daryl Johnston said in a statement, "The credibility that he has brought to the UFL as a head coach validates what we are building as a league. This coaching legend has the respect of everyone in the league as well as throughout the entire football community for his dedication and accomplishments as a head coach for over 50 years. If and when Wade is ready to return to the sidelines, the entire UFL family will be there to cheer him on." Phillips coached the Houston Roughnecks of the XFL in 2023. When the XFL merged with the USFL in 2024, Phillips became the head coach of the Brahmas. He led San Antonio to last year's UFL championship game, and Phillips' coaching career began in 1969. As a graduate assistant at the University of Houston, he joined his father Bum in 1976 as defensive line coach of the Houston Oilers. In 1981, he followed his father to the Saints, where he spent 5 seasons as a defensive coordinator. He served as head coach of the Broncos, Bills, and Cowboys. He also worked as an interim head coach with the Saints and Falcons after his NFL career concluded in 2019 as defensive coordinator of the Rams. He was out of football until the XFL came calling. And that that essentially wraps up that article. But we wish the best of luck for Wade Phillips. I hope he gets better. I know they said personal reasons in this article, but I mean, it's clear as day that he has had some kind of illness affecting him at least through the first 3 weeks of the season, from what we understand with reports, including on TV this past weekend when they were talking about him not feeling well and essentially staying in the locker room with Peyton Pardee taking over. So I think, again, I hope the best for him. I hope he recovers. I hope he comes back. He is as they said, he brings credibility to the UFL to no end. He did it with the XFL in 2023, and I'm always just impressed and amazed in the time frame and situations I've come across, whether it was in Vegas or Arlington, and the chances that I got to at least get to talk to him, got to ask him questions during post game wrap ups and stuff like that. Absolutely amazing human being, and wish the best luck for him, and hopefully he recovers from potentially whatever is going on. Do I think he'll return? I don't know at this point. I will see how things go on, but again, the San Antonio Brahmas are in a very tough spot heading into Friday night when essentially they are playing the that's Memphis. And this is why I've not recorded the video yet for when and where to watch the UFL this weekend. Looking at the schedule here, if I can pull it up, because I am going brain dead. San Antonio faces DC on Sunday on Easter, which that is going to be a game that essentially could be rough for the San Antonio Brahmas. But again, we have two head coaches going head to head on Sunday. Shannon Harris, who took over as interim head coach, and then of course Pardee for San Antonio. It's going to be interesting. I think it'll be a good game. But there is some red flags to start raising for the San Antonio Brahmas if they essentially cannot get this win this upcoming week, because I believe it is week 5, if I am not mistaken, that San Antonio does play at home on April 27th. So in week 5, they play on April 27th against the Houston Roughnecks for their first home game. And I think that'll be an interesting thing to see, because with Wade Phillips taking the leave of absence, Pardee taking over as interim head coach for whatever amount of time that is, and then potentially going into this game in week 5, 0-4, that could be a sign of what is to come potentially with attendance. We've seen in the past where this type of situation has happened. So I hope the best for the Renegades. The Brahmas against the Defenders on Sunday, and see what really we could see a good matchup of two upcoming head coaches that are basically potentially fighting to stay head coaches beyond if something were essentially, if Wade Phillips was to ever step down or whatnot, if Pardee takes over as the head coach for the 2026 season. Does Shannon Harris stay on for the 2026 season? I've heard some rumors that Blake Williams could potentially be a candidate for that head coaching job in DC, depending on his time as defensive coordinator taking over for his dad. So there's a lot on the line here, and I think that game could be a really good game on Easter that we could end up seeing quite a bit of different styles than we're used to for both teams. So let me know in the comments what you think about this, and think about, of course, Ken Wisenhunt stepping down. A lot of things are happening. It seems like this is kind of the norm. When one thing happens, another thing happens right after. So hopefully in uploading this video, that doesn't happen. But we'll see you back here shortly for the who and where you can watch week 4 of the UFL here on YouTube. We'll see you here shortly. Have a great one, everyone.